Listen. When was the last time you truly looked at yourself in the mirror? Not just mechanically registering the reflection, but looking deeper into your essence. Asking yourself the question, am I living as I want, or am I simply drifting along with the expectations of society, family, friends, established norms? This is not an idle question. It is the crossroads at which many do not stop, afraid that an honest answer might turn everything upside down. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, spoke about the importance of choosing your true, authentic self, and not one that is convenient for others. But is it easy? The world is designed to distract you, to pull you into a routine, to tie you to the endless race for success, which is often measured by other people's standards. From morning till night, you are immersed in a sea of obligations. Work, family, social norms. You are practically being told how you should live, what you should strive for, what you should consider right. But here's the thing. Every time you place other people's expectations above your own desires, you give yourself a silent signal. I am not important. You betray yourself, silencing that quiet inner voice that tries to guide you to the life you are meant to live. Jung believed that our connection with the unconscious is not just a philosophical concept, but a vitally important part of us. However, many ignore its signals because listening to yourself can be frightening. Does this feeling resonate with you? That strange, vague discomfort when, outwardly, everything seems fine. But something inside whispers, you're not where you should be. This is not just a whim or fleeting dissatisfaction. This is your soul trying to reach you before you silence it completely. So, stop and think. How many of your recent decisions were truly yours? How many came from a sincere desire, and how many from fear? Fear of disappointing others, of stepping outside the familiar, of experiencing discomfort, of losing approval. Jung knew that if you do not live your truth, you will only face inner chaos. The further you move away from yourself, the more you lose your footing. But let us be clear. Choosing yourself is not selfishness. It is not a rejection of others. It is the realization that you can only give to the world when you are at peace with yourself. Being the best version of yourself means, first and foremost, being honest with yourself. And perhaps now is the time to listen to what you have been putting off for so long. Self-love is not a whim, not egoism, and not a convenient excuse to run away from responsibility. It is the foundation on which your life, your relationships, your inner world are built. When you choose yourself, you do not close yourself off from others. On the contrary, you open yourself up, because only by being in harmony with yourself can you give the world a genuine version of yourself, and not an exhausted shadow worn out by attempts to conform to other people's expectations. As soon as you start putting yourself first, an amazing thing happens. Your energy changes, and the people who are accustomed to your old image may begin to resist. They will say that you have changed, that you have become different. They will be right. You really are becoming different. You are becoming yourself. The universe seems to respond to this inner transformation, removing everything from your life that no longer serves you, and bringing those who resonate with your true essence. But before you reach this state, you will have to meet face to face with what you have been hiding for so long. The shadow is not just the dark part of you. It is all the suppressed emotions, fears, rejected desires, unresolved conflicts. These are the aspects you do not want to think about because they make you feel vulnerable. Jung said that the integration of the shadow is the key to wholeness. And it is true. As long as you ignore your deepest aspects, you are essentially in a state of constant inner conflict. When you stop fighting yourself and accept your shadow, a transformation occurs. You begin to see the world differently. You gain clarity. You understand that you are no longer obligated to follow the path that was imposed on you, that you can create your own reality. This does not happen overnight. It is a path that requires patience and honesty with yourself, but the reward is worth it. You gain the ability to say no without fear, a sense of inner peace that does not depend on external circumstances, and, most importantly, the freedom to be yourself. How to begin this path? Start small. Start by noticing what you feel. Do not suppress these feelings. Understand them. Every time anxiety or discomfort arises in you, ask yourself what my unconscious wants to tell me. Most often, the answers we so desperately seek in the external world are already within us. We are simply afraid to hear them. One of the most difficult decisions in life is to follow your intuition, especially if it leads you to a place where it may not be clear. If these things do not fulfill you, if this job is destroying your spirit, if this dream was imposed on you from the outside, recognizing this is one thing, but daring to act is another. Jung warned that ignoring the signals of your soul means creating chaos within yourself. And the truth is that changes are not as scary as they seem. Yes, we are afraid of them because we are attached to the familiar. We cling to an illusion even if it makes us unhappy. But true growth begins the moment you realize that letting go does not mean losing. On the contrary, it means giving yourself a chance for something greater, for something real. Choosing yourself is not just an act of egoism, as we are often led to believe. It is an act of true love and respect for your true self. We are used to thinking that putting ourselves first is something shameful, that it is a betrayal of other people and a flight from responsibility. But in reality, when you consciously choose yourself, a real miracle happens. It is as if the fog that concealed your reality suddenly dissipates, and you begin to see clearly as never before. People who sincerely support you stay by your side, and those who are only seeking your energy drift away. And this is not a coincidence, but a direct reflection of the changes happening within you. Jung spoke of synchronicity, of the magical yet precise connection between your thoughts, emotions, and the events happening around you. When you begin to live in accordance with yourself, your reality begins to change as if the world responds to your authenticity. You must be prepared for radical honesty with yourself. Choosing yourself is not only about being able to say no and set boundaries. It is also about being willing to acknowledge your past mistakes, pain, and inconsistencies. It happens that you have made decisions that were not a true reflection of who you are, or allowed people to violate your boundaries in order to please them. It happens that you said yes when you knew you should have rejected it out of fear of disappointing those around you. But it is important to understand that this is not a reason to condemn yourself. This is an opportunity to learn, to change course, and to make different decisions in the future. Jung believed that authenticity is not an end goal but a process, a path that requires constant development and growth. You will face resistance. That is normal. Old habits, old beliefs will try to bring you back. It will be scary and uncertain, but it is in these moments that true transformation occurs. It is not about being perfect, but about being real. True growth does not happen in the comfort zone, but beyond it. It begins where you dare to make the decision to choose yourself. People who are part of your life may begin to criticize you, to judge your decisions, and some may even distance themselves because you no longer meet their expectations. And it will be painful. You may feel lonely because when you start living by your own rules, it is not so easy to get external approval. But it is important to understand that your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. It is about realizing that your inner state is the foundation on which everything else is built. Choosing yourself is not isolation from others. It is the evolution of your relationships. When you choose yourself, you stop chasing superficial approval and start looking for deep, sincere connections. You stop tolerating toxic relationships and want to be with those who truly value you for who you are. And here a miracle begins. The right people come into your life. They do not need you. They value you for who you are. They do not try to change you, but support your authenticity. Jung said that our inner reality is always projected onto the external world. If you are in conflict with yourself, you will attract external conflict. If you reject yourself, the world will reject you. But as soon as you choose yourself, you begin to notice how people and circumstances around you begin to change in response. This is not magic. It is the interaction between your inner and outer world. The world often admires sacrificial relationships, but is it worth it? In a society that forgets often to the detriment of its own well-being at what cost this sacrifice is made, we are instilled with the belief that we must always be ready to give to help others, even if it destroys our own boundaries. But what happens when you give from an empty cup, when you give so much that you lose yourself? This is when the real danger begins, wasting your energy and your harmony. Choosing yourself is not an act of egoism. It is an act of deep respect for yourself and your inner world. Only when you are whole and giving to others from the heart, you start giving from abundance and not from depletion. True love and support can only be given when you yourself are okay, when you are internally fulfilled. And this choice is not a one-time act. It is a daily decision, small steps that have great significance, a constant affirmation of your worth and boundaries, even in the most inconspicuous situations, gradually changing your life, opening new perspectives. Jung taught us an important lesson. We cannot give what we do not have. If you lose yourself trying to please others, if you sacrifice, your giving becomes empty and insincere. And this will sooner or later manifest itself in the form of emotional exhaustion, dissatisfaction, and sometimes even a sense of emptiness. How many of your relationships actually inspire you, fulfill you, and how many leave you feeling empty and disappointed? Jung taught that our relationships are mirrors reflecting our inner state. The people we choose to keep close often reflect our values, beliefs, and emotional patterns. And if you allow someone to violate your boundaries, this is a signal that you have not learned to protect yourself, that there is something within you that requires attention. Choosing yourself does not mean breaking all ties and building walls around yourself. It means honesty with yourself and the ability to determine what truly brings you peace and what comes at the expense of your well-being. Establishing boundaries is not egoism, but an act of self-love, because by protecting yourself, you are protecting your authenticity. When you say no to what does not serve your truth, you say yes to your life, your dreams, your inner peace. And the most amazing thing is that as soon as you start living in accordance with yourself, real magic happens. You begin to hear your intuition, the inner voice that used to be quiet and uncertain now becomes loud and clear. You start making decisions that not only seem logical, but are also right for your soul. This is the power of choosing yourself. Jung viewed intuition as the most important connection to the unconscious. It is inexplicable knowledge. It is the feeling when you sense that something is right or wrong, not from the mind, but from the depths of your soul. But to hear this voice, you need to learn to disconnect from external noise and social expectations. When you decide to choose yourself, you send the universe a signal. I am ready to live in accordance with my truth, and the world responds to this challenge. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and events that truly correspond to your essence. Life will not become cloudless, but problems will no longer seem insurmountable. You will see them as opportunities for growth, self-knowledge, and transformation. Choosing authenticity brings something special into your life, synchronicity. These are not accidental coincidences, but the right events at the right time, which occur when your inner state aligns with the external world. When you are in harmony with yourself, the world around you begins to adapt to your authenticity. Doors open, people appear at the right moment, and opportunities develop in the direction you need to go. This is the beauty of accepting your true self. When you realize who you are and live in this awareness, your inner world and external world begin to work in unison. You find inner peace because you know that you are in your place. This path is not always easy, but true freedom is hidden in it. The freedom to be yourself and to live in accordance with who you really are. When you decide to choose yourself and follow your truth, it seems that the universe itself begins to work in your favor. Suddenly, everyone falls into place. Opportunities appear as if by magic. The people you need appear at the most needed moment, and life begins to develop in a way you could not even imagine. It is as if all reality is adjusting to your new sense of purpose, as if the very fabric of being is shifting to correspond to what you have now begun to see and feel. However, do not be mistaken. The path in this process will not be without stones and thorns. The moment you choose yourself, the world in which you once tried to please everyone may begin to resist your transformation. This may manifest itself in the form of external pressure trying to bring you back to old habits and patterns. Doubt, fear, and the temptation to return to the familiar will be great, but it is in these moments that your true strength manifests itself. Every time you remain true to your decision, every time you put your inner world above external expectations, you strengthen who you really are. It is normal to experience fear and uncertainty when you move away from your comfort zone, even if you realize that it no longer serves you. However, it is important to remember that by staying in a situation that no longer brings you joy, you are closing the door to something that could truly change your life. Jung taught that changes never occur without resistance, and this resistance is not a sign that you are wrong. On the contrary, it confirms that you are moving forward. It is the friction between who you were and who you are becoming. How to overcome this resistance? One of the most powerful tools is self-compassion. Knowing your values and goals makes it easier to make decisions. And most surprisingly, the path to these decisions is met with inner energy. It is important to remember that you are not alone on this journey. Although choosing yourself may seem like a solitary act, in reality, you are creating a space that attracts the right people to you, those who will support you, celebrate your successes, and walk alongside you. These people will not try to change you to fit into their lives. They will accept you as you are, because they too have chosen to live in accordance with their truth. And when you achieve something truly important, life ceases to be an endless struggle. Problems that once seemed insurmountable now become opportunities for growth. You will find inner peace that does not depend on external factors, because true peace comes only from within. This is a natural consequence of respecting yourself, respecting your own boundaries, and living in accordance with your values. And what is even more important is that this inner peace is not just a gift for yourself. When you live authentically, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage becomes a light for those who are still searching for their path, opening up the possibility for them to be true. In this way, you not only transform your life, but also create a domino effect that affects everyone around you. Imagine how your life would change if you let go of everything that no longer serves you, relationships that suck your energy, obligations that do not resonate with your soul, expectations that you never wanted to meet. Imagine the freedom and ease you'll feel if you free yourself from these shackles. This is not some unattainable dream. It is a very real opportunity that is already in your hands. All it takes is to decide to choose yourself. When you make this choice, you understand that by letting go of something, you are not losing anything important. On the contrary, you are creating space for what really matters. You begin to build a life filled with meaning, joy, and purpose, and this in itself is a profound transformation worth experiencing. Jung said that true transformation begins the moment we accept ourselves in accordance with who we are, acknowledging our authenticity, recognizing our true self, and not who we have been made to be. And here, something amazing happens. The world begins to change around us. You feel truly alive, free from external expectations and societal patterns, not conforming to societal standards of success or behavior. You begin to listen to your inner voice, the one that has always been with you, but you may not have noticed it among the noise of the outside world. It calls you to look deeper, to believe that you can create your life if you only dare to explore it truly. This feeling of freedom is boundless. When you let go of the fears and limitations imposed by society, you experience liberation as if a heavy burden has been lifted. You begin to breathe deeper, feeling with each breath that you are in your element. But no matter how amazing this feeling, it is underpinned by immense courage. You must face not only external pressures but also those internal barriers that have long restrained you. Jung taught that our main enemy is not in the world but within ourselves. These constant doubts and fears, the voice that says you are not good enough, what if you fail, are merely reflections of our past fears and limitations. But it is important to understand that this voice is not our truth. It is an echo of old experiences, other people's expectations. Every time you decide to act in spite of your fears, you are breaking down destructive beliefs, freeing up space for what is truly important. This is the power of choosing yourself. When you choose to be true to yourself, you break the invisible chains that held you in the past. And as you move forward, you notice how that inner race for recognition, the need to prove your worth to others, disappears. You no longer feel the need to compare yourself with others or follow their path. Instead, you'll find deep satisfaction in simply being yourself, without excuses and masks. And in this state of authenticity, you begin to feel your true strength. It is not a strength based on control or manipulation. It is a quiet, unshakable strength that comes from a deep unity with yourself, from understanding who you are and what you need. When you stand on your truth, nothing and no one can knock you off course. And that is the miracle. When you become authentic, your life transforms. You begin to see how your presence inspires others. It is not a word, not a belief, but simply how you live. You become an example for others, showing them that it is possible to be yourself in this world. Jung understood that every step towards our authenticity not only changes our lives, but also affects the lives of others. This is a domino effect that encompasses not only our environment, but also creates opportunities for change at a deeper level within the communities themselves. Because when each of us lives in accordance with ourselves, the whole world changes. However, the path to authenticity is not always straightforward. There will be moments when you feel strength and confidence, but there will also be moments when doubt and uncertainty overshadow everything around you. Jung explained these moments as an integral part of the process. They are an opportunity to deepen the connection with yourself, to learn to know more about your true desires. Every challenge and failure is a chance to abandon the old and move into the new, towards a deeper version of yourself. And when this path seems unclear and difficult, it is important to remember that you are not alone. As you discover your authenticity, you begin to attract people who share your energy, and with them, your journey becomes easier. And then the path ceases to be a struggle. It becomes a homecoming to yourself, to your truth, to who you really are. It happens that a book, a conversation, or even a video comes to you at the moment when you need it most. These are not coincidences. These are signs that the universe sends, reminding you that you are on the right path. Everything you have experienced, every trial overcome, every choice you have made, seems to have been guiding you to this moment. And although the future may be hazy, there is one undeniable truth. If you continue to choose yourself, you are building a life that is truly worth living. In the end, the greatest thing you can give yourself is to be yourself without compromise. Not that version of you that others expect from you, not the mask you wear to fit into social frameworks, but your pure and authentic self, which is revealed in silence when no one is watching. Carl Jung taught us that the real work of life is not in searching for something outside, but in solving the deep mysteries hidden inside us. When you make the conscious decision to be yourself, you come to the realization that everything you have ever sought has always been within. Life is too short to continue getting stuck in the search for external approval, suppressing your true desires and dreams in order to conform to other people's expectations. It is time to start now. It is time to see your fears and accept your shadows, to listen to the quiet whisper of intuition. This moment is right before you when you decide to choose yourself. You not only transform yourself, but your energy, your perspective, and your presence begin to affect those around you, inspiring and showing the way to those who meet you on your path. And here is what happens next. Now you can reflect on what you have just heard. Ask yourself, what parts of your life correspond to your true self? What can you let go of to be more authentic? What is holding you back from embracing the person you are always meant to be? Remember that every step matters. Every choice in favor of your true self is a victory, even if it seems that the changes are happening slowly. Most importantly, you are not alone on this journey. This space, this community, all of this is created to remind you of your infinite potential and to guide you on the path of self-knowledge. If this message resonated in your heart, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who may also need this reminder. Someone who is looking for answers, who is facing difficulties, who may be in search of clarity. Maybe this is exactly the moment they are waiting for. Every comment, every like, and every repost can help bring this message to more people who are also looking for a deeper connection with their true self. Imagine what impact we can create together, a community of people living in authenticity, courage, and self-acceptance. Now I want to hear from you. Write in the comments which part of this message touched your heart. What steps are you ready to take to choose yourself? What changes do you want to make in your life to make it more real and authentic? Remember that your words are important not only to me, but also to everyone who is on this path, who is searching for their truth. If you are not already subscribed, do it now so you do not miss important moments that could become your next steps towards self-knowledge. Together, we can bring this message to every corner of the world, reminding everyone that the greatest power lies in the simple but profound act, in the choice to be yourself. Thank you for being here, for being part of this movement, this awakening, this common path. See you in the next video, and always remember, life begins the moment you decide to choose yourself.